Welcome to the Sibling Rivalry MMA Podcast. Today, we have not even discussed with each other what we're going to talk about. It's only 11:30 p.m., so not as late as I thought it was, but we're going to do a little bit of drinking. Stuck in our house, quarantine, coronavirus. It's actually the first day I've stayed in my house, but we'll start the quarantine off right.
He's staying the rest of the time.
It's not true.
You better be, dude.
A little bit of Jameson right here for me.
Yeah, no, we're just going to have some fun today. There's no fights coming up. Yeah, I don't know. We're just going to talk and see where we go.
It doesn't look as good with ice as at the bars. It doesn't look like it's on the rocks in this little plastic cup.
Yeah, you could have used glass. But,
yeah.
Whatever.
Just trying to be safe. Who's washing dishes at this time?
Me.
You drink a little bit and you throw it out, right? Not trying to get sick.
Yeah, okay.
If I poorly wash a dish,
You're right.
then everybody's in danger. Whole house could go down.
If you're sick.
But I'm not. I'm the healthiest guy here.
Okay. So, yeah, no fights for a while.
Woo.
Everything got canceled. They tried doing the no fans in Brazil, which I'm glad they were at least able to pull that off, but had to cancel everything else. They're acting like they're still going to do Tony and Khabib, which sounds like if they do it, it will only be Tony and Khabib, right? They won't even do the rest of the card.
Yeah, Dana said something. This was a few days ago. Like, this stuff's obviously gotten a lot worse, and people are taking it a lot more seriously, I'd say, within the last 2 or 3 days.
And they should be.
But, so a few days ago, maybe a week ago, Dana said that no matter what, Khabib and Tony's happening. He said, like, they tried to do the other cards, but eventually Trump was like 10 people to a room, and he's like, there's no way we can do it. But with Tony and Khabib, he said they will make 10 people in a room. They'll do whatever they need to do. So I assume that's going to be like 3 judges, the 2 fighters, 5 people, a cameraman.
Their coaches.
And maybe like 2 coaches per person.
And Dana.
Probably not even Dana. Dana will probably watch it.
Maybe he'll be like, maybe they won't count him if he's watching from like somewhere up above.
So
I don't know.
My main thing with this is how are they going to do it with the cameramen? Like, are they really, like, is it just going to be one guy filming? Like, I don't know. If it stays this bad, they won't fight. Or they'll go to, like, Russia or somewhere.
I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. But if they do, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only reason they're being so fucking adamant about it is because they've had to cancel it 4 times. And they're like, God damn it, dude, we are not doing this shit again. They're like, you two are fighting. I don't care what we have to do. And I'm all about it. I'd like for them to at least fight. I don't give a fuck if they don't even have to do it in the fucking octagon, dude. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do. But at the same time, I want them to do it right. You know what I mean?
I think they could do it somewhere else though, because not every country has this rule right now with 10 people to a room.
I mean,
like Trump.
Yeah, but travel is like the travel is kind of fucked up though.
Yeah. Like
nobody's gonna want them to come over there.
They're both in America right now.
It might be fucked. They probably won't be able to pull it off, but maybe they can.
It's a while from now, though. We don't know how this stuff's gonna go. It could get better by then.
I don't think so.
Okay, like it doesn't have to be completely done, but like maybe they'll have some. Like a month from now, they could have something.
I don't think so.
It's a stretch, but they could.
I don't think they can, dude. I don't think it's gonna be getting any better.
Can you be not the most negative person on earth?
I mean, I'm just being honest.
The fight's happening.
I hope the fucking fight's happening.
Negative guy here.
I'm just telling how it is. It doesn't seem like it's getting any better anytime soon.
We're at the peak. It's just going up. Now it's gonna go down.
Then we're not at the peak.
Well, we're close.
No, we're not. Maybe.
Most negative. All right, we'll stop talking about that.
Yeah, we don't need to get into all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no sports being around really sucks, especially everybody stuck at home.
True.
Well, that's what I was about to say. People are getting desperate. A lot of people we know are starting to bet on Australian football, which we don't really fully understand yet, but we're slowly learning.
We're getting there. The 2 goals on the sides are 3 points, and the goal in the middle is 6.
I think so.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
My cousin has been betting on Australian football. He's been betting on Russian table tennis, and he's been watching Madden and 2K simulations and betting on those.
Yeah, and I like that.
So I may need to post my cousin's Venmo on here in a couple days because he might need some help. Yeah. Check him out, Colts Corner. Check out his podcast.
Yeah, they're back now. Colts Corner, if you're a Colts fan or you're a Colts enemy and you want a little information.
Big Phillip Rivers guy.
Big Phillip Rivers guy. Go Phillip Rivers. Probably going to be the best quarterback in Indianapolis history.
Probably going to be the worst quarterback in the league.
Maybe no one won't even be a starter.
He won't be the worst in the league, but I think he sucks. But I'm a Raiders fan, so. But speaking of all that, we also may be starting a new podcast called Beers and Bets.
Yeah.
Where we're going to be talking about bets and drinking beers.
But we're going to be betting on, like, random dumb shit. Like, ESPN, the Ocho's coming back. I hope they open up some betting lines on that. Yeah. Since there's no real sports, we're just going to be betting on Australian football and Russian table tennis and whatever the Ocho's got. Maybe some dodgeball.
So it'll be us and the guys over at Colts Corner, Vance and Warren.
The Ocho's probably going to be old stuff, isn't it? I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
We'll see what we can do.
So, yeah, it'll be us and the guys at Colts Corner. The two best podcasts in Indianapolis come together and making a good old Beers and Bets podcast, baby.
Yeah, we're way better than McAfee's podcast. Fuck Barstool, right? No,
he's not with Barstool.
Really?
He's been away from Barstool for like a year.
Oh, well, I don't know. Well, I would like to be on Barstool. If you guys want to sign us, we'll be on it. Make it a little better.
You definitely would not be on Barstool.
Why not?
Whose jersey are you even wearing? Do you even know?
PK Subban.
Okay. Who's he play for?
Well, not the Predators anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Plays for another team.
Sure. All right. Like I said, we didn't really have anything planned at all, but one thing that was on today on ESPN, they had a ton of great fights on, but then they had the 4 best fights of all time voted by them. Fourth was...
I think fourth might
Robbie and Rory.
Okay, was it? And then it was Shogun and Henderson?
Yeah, and then the 2 Diaz-McGregor fights. I want to ask you, what we'll start off with what was your favorite fight ever, or what do you think the best fight ever was? And then if we can think of it off the top of our head, like our 4 or 5 favorite fights ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough to say. I definitely don't think it was like McGregor and Diaz, though.
No. McGregor Diaz 2 was really good, but I don't know if it's top 5, but they had it as 1.
Dude, I mean, just off the bat, like, since this fight just happened, I'm still saying fucking Joanna and Zhang is... Oh, yeah. That is definitely one of the best fights I've ever seen. Like, I know we've been talking about it a little bit lately, but, like, if you're going to ask me that right now, it doesn't get much better than that. Obviously, that's a great one. And then, yeah, the Robbie and Rory, and then Robbie Condit. Those are just some off the top of my head.
I'd throw in Adesanya Gastelum was one of the best fights I've ever seen.
And then Romero and Whitaker had some great fights.
Yeah, their second fight especially was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, we've been spoiled recently. Like, all those fights we just named off the top of our head were pretty recent.
Very recent, yeah.
Like, I mean, you go back to the fight that I remember when I was a little kid until probably like 4 or 5 years ago. This was, everybody said the best fight ever was Forrest Griffin versus Stephan Bonner. Mm-hmm. And I think all these fights are way better.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that was just like a fucking slugfest. Like I said,
I think a bar brawl.
Well, yeah, that's what I said like a couple weeks ago. It was like Zhang and Joanna made them just look like a couple drunk dudes in an alley. Like, but it was still a good fight. It's fun. It's the best thing that could happen for the sport at the time. But there's just better fights now and better fighters. But yeah, like we were watching. They showed the first Chuck and Tito fight earlier today, and it's like that was kind of cool actually. Everybody's cheering the entire time just because they were so excited for that fight. But they're cheering in like literally like the first round for most of it. It was like nothing really happened.
Yeah.
Like they were just kind of standing there, and I was like, damn, this fight kind of sucks right now. But the whole crowd was just so excited to be there.
What fight were you just talking about?
Just now?
Yeah.
Well, if you stop looking at your phone, I'll tell you.
I was looking up the freaking best fights.
Chuck and Tito.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
I thought you were talking about, because there's been other fights like that too. Like, if I haven't rewatched this fight in a while, but Robbie was kind of like that. Like the first round was like they didn't do shit, if I remember right, and then they just fucking started going at it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just talking about how the crowd was still just so excited to be there. Like they were cheering the whole first round. Like right now, if that fight happened, like people would probably booing in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like for that first round, but then obviously Chuck went on a little rampage.
So
knocked him out.
This list I just found, this must be super old because it doesn't have like any of the fights we just talked about. But number 1 was Bonner and Forrest. Mm-hmm. And then 2 was Chuck Liddell and Vanderlei Silva, which was fucking awesome. I remember when that fight happened. I think it was UFC 79. I think it was called Nemesis, and it was Matt Hughes and GSP3 was the main event. And it was in December. I remember watching it in my living room. And the fight was awesome, but it was like, you could just tell they were past their prime, and it wasn't like as hyped up as it was supposed to be. Because back in the day before that, Vanderlei like came in the octagon and called Chuck out and said he wanted to fuck Chuck. He didn't say fight. He said, I want to fuck Chuck.
I want to fuck Chuck.
And then, because his English was bad.
Better wash his underwears.
So then they ended up fighting, and it still ended up being an amazing fight, and I was very happy that Chuck Liddell won, because I was a UFC fan. UFC versus Pride, that was like the fight. Chuck got the dub. Then Frankie and Gray Maynard 2, that fight.
That was great.
Any Frankie Edgar fight for a period of time was like the best fight ever. If Frankie was fighting, that fight was amazing.
When I was watching Dan Henderson and Shogun earlier today, I was like, fuck, dude, I miss watching Henderson fight. Anytime he fought, it was just a great fight, or you're just thinking, like, he can knock him out at any time. Like, Henderson and Frankie Edgar, they're just so fun to watch fight. I miss Henderson. I'm glad that he, like, retired, obviously. It's probably a good time for him to go.
Was Shogun, too? Shogun was one of my favorite fighters growing up. At one point, he probably was my favorite. I loved Shogun. And he
got him up there, too.
Outside of the first Lyoto Machida fight, he was kind of like that, too. Like, he came in and he fought Forrest, and he got upset in an amazing fight. Then I think he beat Mark Coleman up. That was stupid, but whatever. And then he lost that close one to Lyoto, and after that, every fight he had was freaking entertaining. He knocked out Lyoto, and then he got dominated by John Jones. Then he had that fight. He had both fights with Hendo. He knocked out Chuck. He knocked out Forrest. Like, he had a span of fights in the UFC that were amazing. And before that, in Pride, he was like the most brutal freaking fighter in the world. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there were guys like that. What fighters now can you think of that are like that? Like Hendo and Shogun, that every time they fought, it was going to be an incredible fight or an incredible finish.
Well, before this last fight, I would have said Adesanya.
And Romero.
Romero, yeah.
Romero was always exciting.
I would still say it for both of them. I think it was just a bad performance. Yeah. It was like Derek Lewis and Ngannou. Like, most of the time, it's going to be a fun fight to watch. Yeah. Maybe not Derek Lewis. But yeah, they just had a bad one. But I would still say those guys, they're always a fun fight to watch. Other than that, Masvidal is obviously
Korean Zombie.
Yeah, Korean Zombie, always a good one to watch.
Always amazing.
Korean Superboy, always fun to watch.
Yeah. You know what's weird to me? The name that came into my head is somebody that has a reputation for being boring. Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
Every time Daniel Cormier fights, it's fucking exciting. I think. Like, the John Jones fights were exciting. Those Stipe fights were exciting. The Gustafsson fight was exciting.
Yeah.
He dominated Volkan and finished him. Like,
the only one I think he got a lot of shit for is because it was a fight that a lot of people watched was him and Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Which he did, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
He literally took that fight. I don't even think he had a full day's notice.
Mm-mm. I mean, you're not going to strike with Anderson Silva without training to strike against Anderson Silva, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's one guy that came to mind for me, which most people don't think so. But every time he fights, it's a freaking slugfest.
I was also going to say Jeremy Stevens is always fun to watch fight.
Oh, yeah. And Jose Aldo.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of guys.
Yeah.
That are really freaking exciting.
I think the difference now between now and, like, a little bit back in the day is, I don't know, it's like there's not, like, as big of an aura around a lot of them. There's so many fighters in the UFC, and it's grown so much, and it's been around for a while now. It's not just like, holy shit, Dan Henderson, Shogun.
Yeah.
Like, especially now that people are getting older and you're seeing them decline, it's just like there's not like this aura around them all. Like, even it seemed like there was with John Jones for a while, and now a lot of people hate him, so they don't want to say it. I don't know. It seems like a lot of the aura is gone. Like especially in the early UFCs, like real beginning ones, it was like something nobody had ever seen before, and you're seeing people do things you've never seen them do before. And I think that's what's kind of died down about it.
Yeah, I think we're kind of in a middle ground with MMA right now, where we don't have as many legends really fighting. We have guys that are new coming up. Like, all the weight classes are starting to be new guys, which is great. Because, I mean, the UFC, it's only 25, 26 years old. And, like, some of these guys that are retiring right now that were legends have been fighting for 20-some years. So I think we're finally getting to a point where we're going to get new names, which I'm excited about. Like, yeah. I mean, you think of some of the guys that we mentioned, like, I don't know, Zabit, Yair Rodriguez, like, guys like that coming up that are going to be really exciting. That maybe will be like that one day, but right now it's kind of like the legends are guys with no chins that we don't want to fight that are going to Bellator. And then we have a few of those fights like John Jones and Cormier who are legends that fight, but outside of that, we're not really getting any legends fighting in their prime.
Well, and that's another problem right now with fans, I think. People saying, like, oh, that weight class is weak, whatever, when really that's not the case, I think. I think it's just maybe people aren't as familiar with them. They're up-and-coming guys. They're not considered legends. And they're just newer faces, and it's like, well, who has he fought? He hasn't fought this guy, when that guy is just older and known for being really good. So I think the talent is up in all the weight classes. I think it's just the names and the recognition that is kind of missing that makes people think that.
I think the best example of that right now is light heavyweight. Like once John was finished with guys like DC and Lyoto and Shogun and Rashad, they're like, oh, there's nobody for him to fight, and then he gets announced to fight Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes, and everyone's like, who the fuck are these guys? This division's weak. And they both arguably beat John Jones.
Yeah.
So I think that's showing like this new age is actually better, and their names just aren't out there yet.
Yeah.
Because I think once we look at these guys' resumes in a couple years, we're going to see the guys that Anthony Smith beat and that Thiago Santos beat, and we're going to be like, oh shit, like they actually beat a lot of really fucking good guys.
Mm-hmm. It's honestly, hate to admit it, but it's kind of the same thing with Conor McGregor. People saying he's overrated, but then you look back at the guys he beat back when he was kind of running through his UFC, and you're like, oh shit, these guys are like the best guys in the UFC right now.
Yeah. I mean, he beat Max when Max was really young, but he still beat him.
Poirier.
He beat Poirier. Poirier was good back then. He was like one of the best featherweights.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Eddie Alvarez, you look back, I mean, when he beat Eddie, I didn't think much of it because I always thought Eddie was overrated, but he was a UFC champ. Same with Chad Mendez. Chad Mendez's only career losses are to Jose Aldo, Connor, and Volkanovski, who's a champ now.
Yeah.
Volkanovski.
Mm-hmm.
I get him in the fucking
Volkan and
Volkov.
There's a Volkan Ozdemir. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those Volkswagens. All of them. But yeah. See? Told you we were just going to fucking ramble on and see where we ended up.
So speaking of that, because I was trying to think of names, and then I couldn't in the middle of that, what guys do you think that are in the UFC right now, the younger guys, do you see that could have the potential to like be guys that put on fights like Shogun, Hendo, where it's two legends going at it and ends up being a great fight? Because I mean, to me, the reason this came up to me was Zabit and Yair, because I feel like eventually they're going to fight, and we've been waiting so long for these guys to fight, and it's one of the most anticipated fights in the UFC for the last 2 years, and neither of these guys are like have ever fought for a belt. When the fight first got announced, they really hadn't beaten any notable names. Yeah. So I think like the hype for this fight.
I think the hype for that fight is based on like style and matchup. Yeah. Which is, I mean, that's how you get like a legendary fight like that. Though that's how you get a really exciting fight that people are going to talk about a long time. It's matchup. So I think that's why for that. Obviously, O'Malley is a guy that everybody's hyping up, and I think once he gets the right matchup, he could be involved in one of those fights. But we don't really know for sure yet.
But let's think of some guys that are more developed now that are already good, like on their way to being legends.
Okay.
So, like, I'm thinking Adesanya, but I don't know who he could fight. Maybe, like, Adesanya Jones is obviously, that would be a huge
Him
fight.
and Costa, I think, is going to be an amazing fight.
Costa has the ability to be a legend like that, to freaking put people out.
I don't know. I think that fight's just going to go down as... I mean, I hope so. I thought the Romero one was going to be a great fight, so... But I think the Costa one, I think that performance is a guy with like Adesanya. I think that's something that might bother him a little bit. Everything that people are saying, I think he seems like he's a guy that wants to prove himself, you know, and like I don't think him just like keeping his belt is what motivates him. I think he seems like one of those guys. If he lost his belt, he'd come back harder. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because some people, they just want to keep their belt, keep the money. He seems like he's really in it to be the fucking man. Yeah. So I think him and Costa will end up being as good as we thought that him and Romero was going to be.
Yeah, Costa ain't going to sit back like Yoel did. He wants to kill him. Like, they fucking hate each other. So he's going to go at him. And then obviously, like, the fight that we already have coming up, Khabib Tony, is already one of those fights. Like, the winner of this fight is the best lightweight ever, no question, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think either of them has to do anything else to prove that. Unless it's fight each other again.
There's never been a fighter that hasn't been the champ that like is considered top 2 in their weight ever. Like in my opinion, Tony Ferguson's the second best lightweight of all time. He's never even been the champ. He was the interim champ, but like if it's the other 2, like Khabib, Tony, BJ Penn, like I have Tony above BJ. I think Tony would have beat the fuck out of BJ Penn.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, those are the 2 best guys ever, and they're about to fight. Hopefully,
I think Tony's the best guy to never win a belt.
yeah.
I remember years ago, you know who that guy was for me? It was Kenny Florian. Kenny
probably.
Florian. I said that for a long time. That he was,
Faber.
yeah, but at least he had a WC belt.
Yeah.
Which was like the UFC for that weight class, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, for a long time I always said it was Kenny Florian, and he's definitely down on the list now.
Kenny Florian's good.
No, Kenny Florian was really good.
good.
I still think so, but he's not even close to my top, like, best guys never won a belt.
Definitely
But actually, I haven't made that list, but I assume he's
I'm
not.
trying to think of guys, though. I mean, Kenny's probably still up there.
Not top 5,
Chad
though.
Mendez
Yeah.
is really fucking good.
Yoel Romero.
Yeah, Yoel. I mean,
He could be the best. He could have been the best middleweight of all time if he fucking.
There's
fought
not a
for it.
fight that Yoel's fought that he definitely lost. Like, he could have won the Whitaker fight. I think he definitely lost the first Whitaker fight, probably, but the second one, I thought he won.
I wonder who else would be on that list. I really haven't thought about it lately.
I haven't either.
That might be something we have to come back to because that's
I
a
don't want
tough
to
one
sit
to
here
put
and
on the
think
spot.
about it.
Yeah.
But like I said, Tony and Khabib, like, 2 best lightweights ever. Recently, like, I mean, actually, I guess recently we have had a few of those. Like, DC and John Jones are probably the 2 best light heavyweights ever. There's an argument that Stipe and DC are the 2 best heavyweights ever. You could make that. Fedor's probably.
Kane.
Yeah. You can't really... I've always said the UFC guys, but, like, the more I've thought about it and looked into shit, Fedor's run at heavyweight was fucking...
I mean, he beat Chael Sonnen.
Yeah, he beat Chael. It was unreal. I mean, when guys in the UFC can't defend a belt more than 2 times and Fedor's on a 21-fight win streak,
Yeah.
fighting Nogueira and Crow Cop and Randleman and Hunt and guys like that, like, I don't know, I can't really argue that, probably.
Yeah.
I forget what I was even... Oh, fights that, like, could be legendary. Like, 2 legends going at it that haven't happened yet in the UFC.
And we were just talking about like best guys never won a belt.
Yeah.
But you just kind of said something that made me think of something like the best 2 guys ever in each weight class. It's like those guys are all fighting right now. Like if you say, well, unless you're gonna say Fedor and Kane, but DC and Stipe, DC and Jones, Holloway and Aldo.
Yeah. Middleweight, the best fighters. He's still fighting, I guess, but Anderson.
Is he still? When's the last time he fought? He is
Against
that when
Cannoneer when his leg
yeah,
got
that's
fucked
okay.
up. That was
You think he's gonna
a
come
year
back?
ago. I don't know.
I feel like that was a long time ago.
It was a year. I think it was on the same card as Rose Andrade.
I feel like Silva's been like forgotten about. I don't ever hear anybody like mention him in like the GOAT conversation anymore, and it just seems like nobody's really talks about him at all anymore. Like in that conversation,
He's top 3
like in the weight class or of all time.
of all time.
Yeah,
Him, Jones, and GSP. I think there's. I mean, you could throw Mighty Mouse in there, I guess.
yeah.
But I mean, if you don't think Anderson's has an argument for the best ever, you need to go back and watch his fights because he was no doubt the most impressive fighter of all time.
He was just so ahead of
No
his time.
question. Like John and Anderson might have been, or John and GSP might have been better, but Anderson was the most impressive.
Yeah, I would say so.
Definitely most fun to watch most of the time.
Sometimes not though.
Yeah, but like guys that are fighting now that are the best though, like the best lightweight ever is fighting right now. The best light heavyweight fighters fighting right now. The best heavyweight fighters fighting right now, probably.
Who's the best? Khabib, yeah.
Yeah, and then in the lighter weights, they're all still fighting because those weight classes are kind of new.
Yeah.
So mostly, like UFC is just way better than it used to be. There's people I see on threads and shit on Twitter that still act like Chuck Liddell could have beat John Jones' prime, which is silly.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Watching that Chuck and Tito fight earlier,
They're bad.
When I was watching the first round, I was kind of like, until the end of the round, because I think that's when Chuck landed his like first flurry. I was like, I'm surprised that Tito kept losing to Chuck. Like, Chuck just fought so weird. Like, you should have known what's coming from him.
He was scared.
Yeah, I think he big brothered him.
Tito was scared as fuck.
I think Tito probably was better than Chuck.
He probably was.
But I think he just got that big brother on him.
Well, I think Tito wanted to take him down because that's what he does, but he probably could have outstruck him, honestly.
Who knows?
Randy did the first time. And then he got knocked out. But
Yeah.
Randy was old as fuck.
It's just crazy. Chuck really had that much power.
But, like, now, like, what guys in the top frickin' 5 could Chuck beat in the UFC? Like, look at how those guys are built now. Like, look at Jan Blachowicz against Chuck, how they're built.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I mean, Chuck fought jacked ass dudes too.
Like, do you think Chuck would have beat Luke Rockhold?
If he threw a left.
I think Luke Rockhold would have beat the fuck out of Chuck Liddell.
I mean, you'd think Luke Rockhold would beat the fuck out of a lot of people.
I feel like I've picked everybody that's beat Luke to fucking beat Luke, but that's because he has no chin. But I don't know, like, Yoel Romero and Chuck Liddell. I think Yoel Romero would kill Chuck Liddell.
They're not even the same weight class.
I know they're not. I know.
Sometimes they are though, because Yoel misses weight most of the time.
But still, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good point because everybody was like, "Oh, Chuck wrestled in high school."
Like Daniel Cormier, though, and Chuck.
Yeah, no, obviously DC would kill him.
But there's people that don't think that. They, like, legitimately do not think that.
I mean, those people are just old, probably, and dumb. I don't know.
Like, the only guys from back then that, obviously, like, guys would adjust, but if they had their skill set from right now that could compete, are probably Anderson and GSP.
Yeah, and I mean,
Fedor probably could have.
that's the thing, too. Like, they didn't have all the resources and training partners and experience and all that shit that people have now. So you got to take that in consideration and think they'd probably be better now than they were then. You just never know. I mean, it's like the fucking Jordan and fucking...
Jordan LeBron.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, realistically, you would think in every sport, people just get better with time. Like, wrestling's been around forever. And, like, I go back and watch old film, and I think, like, some of the legends, like, I don't think are very good. And then I'll go to tournaments and, like, go watch little kids, and they're unreal how good these little kids are. Like, they're hitting shit that I didn't start hitting until freaking high school.
just knowledge just keeps getting passed down to the next generation.
And I think now
people get better.
The ability of having, like, YouTube and
for
Flow
sure.
Wrestling and online things that you can go back and watch stuff is just going to make sports go to an even new level, especially not even just, like, MMA, but, like, the martial arts in general, like wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Like, I'm sure jiu-jitsu is on an insane level right now from what it was 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, if you talk to any jiu-jitsu people or just see them talk about it, you can just learn so much. Like, I mean, think about one of our old high school coaches. All he did was watch film and come and teach us shit that he found out on film.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, you can get probably all of that on YouTube now.
Yeah.
And more.
So, and that's how MMA is. Like, you see guys throwing certain kicks and doing things on the ground that 5 years ago we would have been like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, when Anderson Silva front kicked Vitor, that never happened before in the UFC, and now it's like guys are throwing front kicks all the time.
Well, if it wasn't for Sensei Seagal, then we wouldn't have any of that shit, so thank you.
Thank you, Sensei.
No, fuck you.
Damn.
Steve Seagal?
I mean, now, why did he deserve that, though?
That was a little harsh,
Yeah.
but
He didn't really do anything.
that was harsh. I think we won't get into it. I don't like him.
Made a lot of good cop movies.
I don't like him at all. But yeah, that was harsh. I'm sorry. That was too far.
But yeah, like I said,
I don't know.
everybody in all sports are probably better now. Like, even football, there weren't guys like Patrick Mahomes 10 years ago in football being able to do all the stuff he does. So things change.
What else we got? Yeah, I don't know. There's no fights coming up, but that was a fun talk. I think we covered a lot of random shit.
On a
That
lot
was
of good fights.
I know there were a lot of good fights coming up. I hope they all get rescheduled. Yeah, see, that's what I'm wondering. Like, some places are still training. They're not supposed to be, though.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know, man. It's going to be hard to make these fights happen. Like, you know damn well Khabib and Tony are still training.
They gotta be, but it's like, I bet they're missing train partners, and I don't know. It's got to be weird. And they're just sitting there like, is this fight going to happen? Is it not? Where is it going to be?
I almost want it to get postponed just so it can be right.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, I want it to be right, but I want it to fucking happen. And it's like, the longer we put this shit off, it's like, what are we, like, is it never going to happen?
People have been saying recently, they're like, well, if they put this card away, are they going to do Conor Khabib? Fucking better not. I don't think they will.
I don't think Khabib will let that shit happen.
No, he has to fight Tony. Gaethje and Conor has been rumored a lot lately.
Dude, if this fight happens, like, and if it's just Khabib and Tony and no other fights, are they going to make it a pay-per-view? They're going to have to, I bet.
Yeah, everyone's going to buy it or stream it.
But nobody's going to want to pay $70, yeah, for one fight.
Yes, they are.
But it's like, no, they'll stream it.
The guys that would stream it would stream it anyway.
I don't know. But it's like if they did put it on, it could be like the most watched event of all time, UFC fight of all time, because there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, but they can't just put that on ESPN probably because like the production's gonna be shit if they're doing it how we're saying they're gonna do it.
I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do, man.
It's probably just not gonna happen.
I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull it off. They could. It's doable.
They have to do it somewhere else.
It's definitely doable. They could do it here. They just can't have anybody, like... It's just going to be weird.
But if we're thinking about what I said earlier, though, 10 people to a room, that's not enough. That's enough for one cameraman and 2 coaches per corner.
You could have... All right.
You got to have the ref.
2 fighters, 3 judges, a ref. 1 coach each. 2 cameramen, and you get the camera that's... Because a lot of the camera angles aren't even people.
They got the guy standing there with the camera.
Yeah, they have him, but then a lot of the angles are just like on zip lines, but they got to have the people. But they'll be in another room working the cameras, like that are flying around on the lines and shit. And the doctor. They can't do it.
Can't do it.
But if not all states are 10 people or less, I don't think.
Well, I don't think that's an actual law. But Trump just said it, and Dana acknowledged it.
Well, it's a thing you should be doing. Fuck, man, I don't know. And as slow as these tests start to come back, they could fucking all get tested right now and not fucking know by then. Piss me off.
Yeah, fuck it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up, but man, it'd be cool. Because I do actually like the idea of that fight happening with no fans a little bit. Because it's just like, it would be cool to just hear every part of it.
Hear Eddie Bravo.
Hear them breathing, hear the coaches,
talking.
Hear every shot land, hear them talking to each other. And it'd just be like as pure as it could be. So that, I think, that appeals to me for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, though. It just needs to be done right, I think. I don't know. They should probably postpone it.
I don't know. But we have a couple more weeks to talk about it anyway before we even get to it.
Because the fans play a factor, too, though.
I know, but I think it's cool either way. I like them fighting with no fans there. It actually does appeal to me. I think that's kind of cool because it's supposed to be the best fight ever. Dude, what if this fight happens like this and the fight fucking sucks?
I mean, the fight, like, if Khabib takes him down and just lays on him, then that's how it happens. That's impossible.
And that happening with no fans there would be bad. That happening with fans there would be better. I don't know, man.
I mean, that's definitely possible.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to stand there and slug it out. It's going to be a lot of ground shit. Like a lot of just excitement of Khabib being on top and he getting hit with elbows or like maybe having to escape some submissions.
Yeah. I don't know.
I could see Khabib hurting him on the feet though.
I could see Tony hurting Khabib.
Yeah.
See, we got to have this fucking fight. And I don't know how it ends. It's so much. There's never been anything like this. Like, fight-wise.
No, this fight's the 2 highest skilled fighters that could happen, like, match ever. There's never been a fight with this 2 high skilled guys fighting each other.
That's been canceled 4 times and probably going to be canceled a 5th.
It is like this virus just happened, so this fight can't happen. Like, they're like, all right, God's like, we said it 4 times, you can't do this fight. Now I'm cursing the whole world because of you. Fuck you guys. This is what you get.
Yeah. I don't know. All right.
All right.
Let's call it a day on this one, and we'll do another one. I mean, fuck, we got plenty of time to do another one, I guess.
We probably won't really have anything to talk about, so send us questions, or maybe if someone wants to be on the show, we could have someone on.
That'd be fun.
We can try to get an interview. I'm sure. Fighters have fucking time right now. Right?
Yeah.
So we'll hit up some people, try to get somebody on the show. Maybe do a drinking game next time. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But shout out to Big Heads Media, posting us on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher. Check out our Twitter at Rivalry MMA. We'll probably be tweeting a lot recently, or whatever it is coming up. Yeah. Subscribe on YouTube, and we'll see y'all
Stay
in a few
home.
days probably.
Stay home. Stay healthy. Watch our shit.